This slide, I think, speaks volumes about all that we go through every day. The expectation that we can be immersed in suffering and loss daily and not be touched by it is as unrealistic as expecting to be able to walk through water without getting wet. We deal with clients on a daily basis with trauma, mental health issues, substance abuse issues, and it is unrealistic to expect that we would not be affected by working with these clients.
So I want to take a moment and ask how you've been feeling over the past 2 weeks. And I want you to think about these things over the course of this presentation. Over the past 2 weeks, have you been feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, anxious, depressed and sad? Have you been having crying spells just sporadically and randomly? Have you been irritated, like everything is getting on my last good nerve? Frustrated? Do you feel like isolating from others, like family, friends, co-workers? If you can answer yes to 3 or more of these feelings, compassion fatigue may very well be affecting your life. I also want to give you some definitions. Now, most of the time we think of compassion fatigue and burnout and think of them maybe in similar categories, but there's a difference between the two. So the definition for compassion fatigue was identified by a gentleman named Dr. Charles Figley in 1992 as an emotional and physical burden by caring for people in distress. Now that description has changed to emotional exhaustion that occurs when helpers become overwhelmed. Compassion fatigue refers to the profound emotional and physical erosion that takes place when helpers are unable to refuel and regenerate. And the definition of burnout, let's do that. Burnout is a term that has been used since the early 1980s to describe physical and emotional exhaustion that workers can experience when they have very low job satisfaction and feel powerless and overwhelmed at work. However, burnout does not necessarily mean that our view of the world has been changed or that we have lost the ability to feel compassion for others. The World Health Organization defines burnout as a syndrome conceptualized as resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. It is characterized by 3 dimensions: feelings of energy depletion or exhaustion, increased mental distance from one's job, or feelings of negativism or cynicism related to one's job, and reduced professional efficacy. Note that the phrase chronic workplace stress refers to the latest WHO definition that lands burnout squarely in the camp of occupational phenomenon, relabeled after being formally classed in a life management problem. This has implications for who is responsible for fixing the problem, with employers needing to take a greater role in creating sustainable workplaces. So compassion fatigue is more personal, and burnout is directly related to your workplace. And once you leave that workplace, that burnout, those feelings should go away. So some common misconceptions about compassion fatigue is, I'll fix the problem and make everything okay. I'll save the world. And that is, we all want to wear our superhuman cape and go in and do everything that we can. Sometimes it's just not possible for a variety of reasons. So you want to make sure that you set clear limits to your abilities. Second one is, I'm responsible for outcomes. You're not responsible for the outcome. You're responsible for providing support for the person that is there in front of you. If I care enough, everything will be okay. But again, yeah, I mean, caring is necessary in a lot of the professions that we are in, especially if we're in the behavioral health or medical professions. But sometimes there are things that are out of our control, and we want to be aware of that going into the situation. Sufferer victim will appreciate everything I do for them. You know, again, that's out of our control a lot of times, especially take, for example, the substance abuser who may come to you and you feel like, okay, I'm going to, you know, do A, B, and C for them. I'm going to get them in detox. I'm going to get them into treatment. I'm going to make sure that the doctor sees them. But even then, unless they are wanting that help, they may not accept it. I will have enough resources, time, money, material, skills, and training to fix things. Again, you may or may not understand your limitations in this situation. Significant people in my life will support and approve my absence from our relationship while I invest in this compassionate work. You'd be surprised that how your absence is noticed. So you want to make sure that you're not dropping everything in your life to go and do this work. And we'll talk a little bit about that a little later in this presentation with self-care, but you want to, again, be aware that you're not putting all of your eggs in a basket. You're not putting 100% of yourself into just providing these services. I know what I'm getting into. Yes, you may. No, you may not. Things come up all the time. We are surprised sometimes what happens with certain clients or patients that we see. I can do it alone, and none of us are an island. So you want to make sure, again, that you get, if you can do it alone, okay, but if you cannot, that you have a team of people that you can rely on to help you through working with a patient or a client. If I'm afforded enough, I can deal with the stress of working with suffering people. Knowledge is power. Again, I think sometimes too, experience is power too, and you want to make sure that when you are not in a place where you can provide the centered, focused treatment for this client, that you step back and maybe ask for help in doing so. And then your definition of success, you know, everybody's is different. You know, for some people, their definition of success in working with their clients may be that, okay, well, this person actually came to their session today. They came to their appointment today. That may be the success. That may be what you can say to yourself. And I was there to help listen to what their problems were. So the success can be big, and sometimes, and most of the time actually, it probably is not so big and it's a little smaller. So signs of compassion fatigue, and some of these we've already addressed. The first one is chronic physical and emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, feelings of inequity toward the therapeutic or caregiver relationship. So either you feel like you don't have what you need to provide services to this patient or client, or that you're doing way too much work and this client is not doing what they need to do to progress during their treatment. Irritability, you know, feeling like you're just on your last nerve, that every single person that walks in is saying or doing something that makes you feel upset or angry. Feelings of self-contempt, you know, coming to a place where you're not appreciated and you're feeling like you're giving more than you can possibly give and still it's not enough. Difficulty sleeping, weight loss, and headaches, you know, physical symptoms and changes in our daily routines. And poor job satisfaction can also contribute to compassion fatigue, and ultimately, for some of us, maybe even leaving our chosen profession. Okay, signs of burnout. Burnout is the loss of meanings in one's work coupled with mental, emotional, or physical exhaustion as a result of long-term unresolved stress. As with any illness, symptoms of burnout change from person to person. However, these five stages are commonly observed. First one is the honeymoon phase. When we undertake a new task, we often start by experiencing high job satisfaction, commitment, energy, and creativity. So it's all exciting when we first start. Onset of stress. So we've been at the job for a little while now, and things are starting to become real. We're expected to do our jobs and show up and make sure that we have a certain amount of productivity. Chronic stress, when we're overwhelmed and maybe given too much to do within the time that we have during the day, or we have coworkers that don't do their share, or we have a boss that is just very difficult and we are really not sure what we're walking into from day to day, and creating this chronic stress, this burnout. And then habitual burnout, where it just doesn't end and it continues, and we're at our job from day to day. We don't really know what's going to be next.
So I don't know if this looks familiar to you all, but during this pandemic, we saw more and more people who were overwhelmed. So many changes, such as people in the home that may not have been in the home before, people working at home together in tight conditions, children involved in virtual schools as well as brick and mortar. So a lot of situations that changed for a lot of people and created a sense of feeling overwhelmed, out of control. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And this is also a reminder that we cannot control people, places, or things. We can only control our reaction to those things. So I hope that video is a reminder of what are the important things in our lives and how to focus on those first. And just like a stewardess directs us when we are on a plane that we put the oxygen mask on ourselves first before we put it on a child or someone else we're helping, same thing applies here. You can only help others when you're taking care of yourself first.
So we want you to think about, what are the things in your life, what areas of your life can you provide self-care? And this wheel provides some areas and ways that you can find that life balance. Okay, I will go through it with you. First is psychological. So having some self-reflection. Some of you are good at journaling. That can help bring out some thoughts that you're having and ways that you're living your life at the moment. If any of you are into aromatherapy, that can help to distract you and get your mind in a different place. Being able to do some gardening, reading self-help books, or just reading just in general, I think is probably very good for that ability to just know another part of who you are. Thinking about positive qualities about yourself, and being able to ask and receive help. A lot of times with compassion fatigue, we kind of let go of that. And we think we have to do everything ourselves. Not the case. The next part is emotional. So having some affirmations for yourself, being able to feel real feelings, crying, laughing, telling people in your circle that you love them, watching funny movies, finding a new hobby that you've always wanted to do can bring out a lot of the feelings that maybe you have been missing during this time. Next one is spiritual, and that has a lot to do again with self-reflection, going into nature, bringing out some of your inner thoughts about what life is about, or what you feel like you want to be connected to here and even outside of here on earth. Being able to play and sing and dance, playing with children, taking time to, again, be in nature, maybe going to the ocean, going into the water and cleansing off some of the feelings and emotions that you've been having during this time. The personal part of your life allows you to learn who you are. You can make a vision board. If you are a goal-oriented person, creating short-term and long-term goals for yourself can be a valuable exercise during this time. Getting out of debt, writing poems or a book, drawing, being creative can help you with your life balance. And then your professional life, taking the time when you're working for lunch. A lot of us will, be really, busy and think that we don't have time for lunch, but taking that break a lot of times allows us to have a fresh perspective on projects that we're working on or things that we're doing at work. Getting regular supervision or mentorship, being able to have a sounding board, and then even some of us maybe want to plan our next career or second career and going towards that. The last one is physical. And as I tell a lot of my clients, your head and your body are connected. You have to pay attention to both mental and physical aspects of your body. So with your physical, making sure that you are living in a safe place and you have housing, getting regular medical care, getting that annual exam or pap smear, eating healthy, getting a little bit of activity or exercise daily, getting out. Even your sexual health can come into play with this. You want to pay attention to that. Take vacations. A lot of us will build up that vacation time and it'll just be there and we never plan it. Plan a vacation or plan a little bit of time off, every month, and just take an extra day for yourself just to be, and that's okay too. Being able to turn off your electronics, your phone, your tablets, any kind of gaming devices, turning those things off and just doing something that doesn't require those things can also help your physical part of your life.
So self-compassion is simply giving the same kindness to others that we would give to ourselves. I used to tell my clients that you would never talk to a friend or sometimes a family member the way that you talk to yourself. We've got to look at negative self-talk and be more positive with ourselves. And just as Shampa mentioned with the self-care wheel, gardening, taking a break, be kind and gentle to yourself. Ask yourself, what do I need? It might be eat that chocolate. Do what you feel is a little treat or reward for you, just to help you get in balance some of the things that you might be missing. When we ask what is the most important thing in your life, the only correct answer is you. You are the most important thing in your life. And acceptance and courage is the way we work through this time. We can't change what's going on, like I'd said previously, only our reactions to what's going on. I attended a workshop where the presenter talked about breathing in faith and breathing out fear. So breathing in a positive, and then that's going to help you release whatever that negative is that's going on. Because we know that working with people with problems, emotional or otherwise, can be emotionally exhausting. And that can even apply to somebody who's a dietitian or a maintenance person or somebody just walking through a building where there are people who are not healthy and that people that we're taking care of.
Reminders for you that you're only responsible for your task. You're only responsible for you. The need will always be greater than the resources, and that's true in a lot of cases, but guess what? You probably, if you really need something, will be able to find it if you reach out, if you don't have it yourself. Use care in how you measure success. You know, again, success can be defined in many different ways. There's not just one way to define that for yourself. Value small victories, you know. So, you know, for you, if you're having trouble sleeping or you're having trouble with taking a shower every day, you know, say to yourself, yeah, you know what? I got up today. I went to work. I got through the day. That may be your victory. Who you are is as important as the mission, to the mission as what you do. Definitely. The mission probably could not exist without you. So you want to remember that. That their pain is not your pain. You want to make sure that you're not taking on the energy or the problems that the person is bringing to you and taking that home with you. You want to find a way to make sure that there's a space between you and that problem or that person. And that's the next one. Don't take it home with you. You know, home is your safe space, your place to recharge and get ready for what's coming up. So make sure that you do that for yourself. Remember to care for your spirit, emotion, and body so that there will be something left to give. If we don't take care of ourselves, then there is nothing else that is going to go well in our workplace and in our families and in our life. So make sure you're taking care of you.
And where you can go to get help. So, you know, if in case of emergency, you dial 211. You can always turn to your insurance plan and look and see what providers are covered under your insurance plan. We also have a grant here in IMPOWER. So if you're interested in seeking services here in IMPOWER, you would go to our website, which is empowerfl.org. You can submit a referral for yourself, for a child, or for others. There's also more information on that page about our COVID funded grant, which is related to any mental health or substance abuse issue related to COVID. I'm going to have Shampa take you through a deep breathing exercise right now, so I ask you all to just take a deep breath as we move into this.
Okay, so sit in a comfortable position, your feet on the floor. Relax and clear your mind of all of today's challenges. You will take in a deep breath through your nose down to your diaphragm and count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Now let go of this breath through your mouth slowly and again count to 3. 1, 2, 3. We'll repeat this 2 more times. In through your nose. 1, 2, 3. Out through your mouth. 1, 2, 3. In through your nose. 1, 2, 3. Out through your mouth. 1, 2, 3. Open your eyes. You can use this exercise daily even when you're not feeling stress. It's a great way to begin your day, an even better way to clear the day's worries and stresses right before you go to bed.
And another exercise to help you stay in the moment is a grounding exercise. So that consists of something you can do as you sit in your chairs or at work, which is my feet are on the floor. My butt is in the chair. My back is against the back of the chair. My hands are on my knees. We also do this with children in a little sing-song fashion. My feet are on the floor. My butt is in the chair. My back's against the back of the chair. My feet and my hands are on my thighs. And it's a great way to just stay into that moment. Another good grounding technique when you're feeling stressed is look around the room and pick a color and then look for 5 things that signify that color. We also have some PDFs that are attached to this slide that will be sent to you for additional compassion fatigue, self-care tips, and some simple things you can do to practice self-care. So one thing that I do that has helped me a lot with self-care is a gratitude jar. So most gratitude jars, you're told to write something every day. That can create undue stress because that's just another thing you have to do on a daily basis. So I basically do it one day a week. I do it on a Saturday or on a Sunday. I write down whatever I was grateful for that occurred that week, put it in the jar, and then usually on New Year's Eve, I open the jar and I'm able to separate those notes in the jar into who were my supportive people, what were things that brought me joy, what were some things going on that I might want to look at and see if those issues have been reconciled or if it's something I need to pay attention to. It's helped validate feelings. So sometimes you may be going through something and then as you look back on it, you realize that how you felt was exactly how you would feel, and it validates that was okay. It also can help you make a plan. So you can look and see that, wow, I did a lot of things that created some stress for me. These are things I did to relieve the stress, but how can I make a plan so I don't have that much stress in the future? And I've had clients do this, I do it myself, and always had a positive response to this. So it's something that's worth at least making an attempt to try.
Okay. And you want to take a moment to stop. Stop what you are doing. Take a few deep breaths. Observe what you are thinking and feeling without judgment. Proceed your day in a way that supports you. For example, your next move would be calming, like sipping tea or taking a short walk. So again, just focusing on you and not everything else that's going on externally.
So both Shampa and I would like to say a big
Thank
you for all of your support. If you have any questions or you'd like to reach out to speak to us privately, you can email me at jcharuhas@empowerfl.org.
And you can email me, Shampa Davie, at sdavie@empowerfl.org.